All right, so the NBA season is kicking back up in a few days. And before it even starts, I got to get this off my chest so that I can tell people I told them so later. The Phoenix Suns run, or whatever you want to call the success they've had over the past two seasons, is sadly about to come to an end, and it's going to start this season. A big reason for this is also why they've also had a lot of success over these past two seasons, and that's Chris Paul. Um, Chris Paul actually came in and changed their whole culture with this team. You know, they hadn't made the playoffs. Know that story. They hadn't made the playoffs for X amount of years. Chris Paul comes to the team, gives them a real leader, puts everybody where they need to be, and they turn it around. They go to the finals. They go to the finals. They're the best record in the league this year, this past season. Everything is great. But now, if you look back at those past two seasons, as great as Chris Paul was leading up to the playoffs, in those big moments, when you're up 2-0 in the finals, you need to close out the Milwaukee Bucks when, you got a lesser team in the Dallas Mavericks, and he gives you four straight trash games. And that comes from, his old age. I mean, Chris Paul is an older player. I think he's 37 or something like that, 36, 37. They're going to be paying him 30 million a year for the next 3 years. And honestly, they don't have a backup point guard outside of him. They don't have any young guys in the pipeline who are ready to take over the point guard duties once Chris Paul is done. And it looks like he's not going to be at the top of his game, if not starting this season, very soon. So that puts the Phoenix Suns in a very, very weird spot, because they'll be right back where they essentially just were, with without a point guard, and having Devin Booker to carry all the duties, which we saw does not equal winning basketball. I'm not saying that Devin Booker is not a winning player, but he needs another guard next to him. And right now, once if Chris Paul is done, I don't know who that is. I don't know. I don't see any, trade scenarios where they can go get a really good young point guard to put next to Devin Booker. Um, and then that leads me to the next point of, if it's not a point guard, then it has to be another position player who can be their number two. Now, most people say that's DeAndre Ayton. One, I don't think that DeAndre Ayton has shown any flashes of him being able to be a number two option. Now, that's not me saying that DeAndre Ayton is not good. DeAndre Ayton is a very, very good young big, but he is, truth be told, he's a third option, if that. He hasn't shown, yo, if you throw it into me on the block, I'm gonna go get you a bucket. Which I feel like, if you're gonna be a center in this league, a top center, you have to be able to go get your own bucket. You got to go be able to get me 10 a night, whether it's from you getting fouled off of a post up or you just scoring off of the post up alone. Like, you have to be able to generate that offense and give your wings and your guards a break when they throw it into you. They have to be able to trust you. And I think as of right now, they can't trust him with that. So him as a second option is just not going to work. And then also, DeAndre Ayton doesn't even want to be there. I feel like as soon as he's able to be traded, DeAndre Ayton is going to ask for a trade, because of all the stuff that happened in the summertime. He can only be traded after a certain amount of time, based on the restricted free agency rules and stuff like that. So DeAndre Ayton doesn't even want to be there, and he has not shown to be a good enough second option on a championship level team. So even if he is going to be that second option, that's not going to be winning basketball if DeAndre Ayton is your second best player and Devin Booker is your first. And then the last thing for me with this team is their depth just isn't looking as good as it once did. Jay Crowder just asked for a trade in a very weird scenario, because Jay Crowder isn't really a player that, it's usually higher tier players. Like, we just saw Kevin Durant kind of demand a trade or say, I'm out of here type of stuff. Jay Crowder isn't that level of player. He's like the sixth option or something on his team. So that was weird to begin with. But even then, that takes away from your depth. You no longer have Jay Crowder starting. So now Cam Johnson is going to come into the starting lineup, which I think Cam Johnson is a starter level player. He can hold down that position, but that takes away from your depth. You no longer have Cam Johnson coming off of the bench. You no longer have that versatile tall forward who can play either the three or the four, depending on the matchup. You no longer have that. So now, you no longer have Jay Crowder. So Cam Johnson has to play in the starting minutes, and they lost JaVale McGee to Dallas. That was a huge blow, a huge insurance policy for DeAndre Ayton in case he got hurt or got in foul trouble, which he does pretty often. Lost him, and Cam Payne got paid after that finals run, and I haven't seen him since. To be totally honest, he got paid and he I don't want to say he stopped playing, but did he lose the hunger? I'm not sure, but whatever it is, he didn't look like the campaign that was out there trash talking LeBron and was out there balling out in the playoff run that got them to the finals. I don't know where that guy went. I don't know if he had something going on last season. Whatever it was, that guy is not there. So now you look down at this bench and you're really like, who are they looking to come off the bench? I think they still have Sarge on the bench. Bismack Biyombo was there, but I thought he was more of a limited minutes type of center. I like Bismack and I liked him with the Suns, but he was more of a spot minute guy. He was really good in the spot minutes he was getting, but I don't know if you really want to play Bismack Biyombo 15 to 20 minutes. Do you? I personally wouldn't. So yeah, I think this team is. I think they're in trouble, man. I try not to be a hater. I try not to, put negativity out there, but I gotta call it like I see it. And with all of these good teams coming back and being healthy next season, between the Nuggets, the Clippers, they hope that Anthony Davis is back healthy for the Lakers. Dallas, even though they lost Jalen Brunson, they re-upped with guys like Christian Wood. They stole JaVale McGee, like I just talked about earlier. This is going to be an interesting season, and if Chris Paul isn't back to the level of Chris Paul we know, which honestly I just doubt that he is. He's flamed out 2 years in the playoffs, and been the main reason, in my opinion, why they haven't won the series that they've lost. I think he's been at the head of the reason why they lost those series. If he's not back to that level, I just personally don't see this team being what were they last year, a 60-win team. I personally I don't see it. I don't see it. I think everybody kind of has them penciled in, for at least 50 wins. I'm just not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it. Mikal Bridges hasn't shown that like his offensive game outside of a one dribble pull up or a spot up shot, he hasn't shown any more evolution in his offensive game, which I think they're going to need. He has to create more. And he hasn't shown that. Now, can he? Can he do it? Maybe he can. But again, to this level, I haven't seen flashes of Mikal Bridges saying, "I'm going to show you that I can, hold down the fort offensively when Devin Booker goes to the bench or when Chris Paul is out." I don't see that in his game yet. Again, maybe he shows that, but right now he hasn't. So I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, well, where else do you go? So I'm calling it now. I think that this Phoenix Sun, run of success is on the decline. Do I think they're going to miss the playoffs? Probably not. But do I think they're going to be fighting for a play-in spot? Absolutely. To me, this has the writings of a play-in team. So I honestly I would not be surprised if that's what we see from them this season. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I love to hear everybody's opinion, even if you don't agree. You think they're a top one seed. Get in the comments and let me know what you think. Let me know why. I love to hear everybody's reasons why they think this stuff. And if this is your hometown team, let me know. Let me know. I want to hear everybody's opinion.